Alrighty, let's get this shot on the road. Testing. Alright, I think we're go. Fantastic. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Race Spec. We're here at Australia, Albert Park, for the first round of the Global Series, Tier 1 of course. So I am Bodhod1 and I'll be doing comments for tonight and hopefully the upcoming races. Really looking forward to this. Field looks really good. So yeah, looking forward to see what these guys throw up at us. Personally, I know a few of these drivers, but there are a lot that I don't know, so I'm looking forward to learning, watching these guys get out and track and yeah, just seeing where the pace is at. But we've started quali here, 2.5 minutes in. These guys are just going to be getting their first laps up. Let's just get some useful information on. There we go, hopefully the sound's all good. We'll just check that. Alright. I think good, fantastic. Alright, so we're good to get rolling as we're on board with Ramsey, who's just invalidated his first lap. So easy to do, Albert Park. The game calls it very easy, but I definitely disagree with that. It's definitely got its challenges. Track limits being one of them. There's a couple of places where you'd really want to be able to push but you can't, so it'll be interesting to see how these guys approach their qualifying, seeing if they'll put in a couple of bankers first, or see if they just go and send it. Looks like Kuda's gone and sent it on his first lap of 26, so that's 20.6. That's a decent first lap. Only person that's had a lap so far on those red soft tyres. We'll probably see most of these guys qualify on the softs. The strategy should be a soft to hard. If you're feeling extra adventurous though, you can probably do a soft to medium, but you're going to have to look after those tyres and probably hope for a safety car to give you a few extra laps window. Just a bit of safety. So a soft to hard is probably the way to go. Maybe a medium to hard if you want to send it on the tyres. So we'll see what these guys end up doing their final laps on. My guess would be the softs, as you've got some more time starting to come in now. Mid-high 20s, low 21s looking like to start with, so not too bad out of the blocks. These guys will be hoping to make as many improvements as possible on those times. I'll just get the driver lineup up and we'll just go through that. That'll be Global Tier 1. So in the Mercedes we will have MJ and Silver Pillow. Ferrari we've got Viper I. I'm really sorry, I'm not sure what to call that. We might call it, I might have to ask him about that one. We'll go VIP, maybe VIP for now. I'm going to have to ask him about that, that's my apologies. And then Rattle 84 in the Ferrari. Red Bull's got Deputy Deal Dog and Prime Stingray. McLaren, Curbing Texas and Portinator. In the Renault we'll have Banana Cake Pie and Young Lights. Racing Point is Patuca and VTOD. Alfa Romeo will have Prime Vils and Dod Ion. I'm going to have to practice some of these names actually. I'm reading them for the very first time, so bear with me, we'll get there. AlphaTauri we've got KD and BK, Dynamic Duo. Haas we've got Donolu and One Slick Mofo, and in the Williams we'll have Ramsey and Kuda. So obviously we've got a few drivers missing, just a field of 15 tonight. I'm not sure who's reserving. I'm not sure if anyone is, but hopefully we'll get 20 drivers on the grid in the next few weeks. But pretty happy with the 15 we've got right now, as we've got Young Lights is actually set the quickest time on mediums, so that's quite a statement actually to start off with. Theoretically the soft should be a lot quicker, but if you put in a banging time like that on those mediums, then that's definitely a warning call for the rest of the field. He's going to be very quick. this season. I reckon he's going to be one to watch for the title. Yeah, judging by this pace already, he's proving why. Let's jump on board with, let's see if we can find someone on the lap. So not really anyone's on the lap at the moment. Lots of people in the pits or starting an out lap. We might ride on board with One Slip Mofo. He's in ERS 0, so I think he's probably on a cool down, but we'll stay on board anyway. Heavy braking, turn 9-10. That left curb on there, just there is pretty slippery, so you don't want to take too much of that. And then probably the most challenging part of the track, turn 11 and 12, very easy to cut, very easy to get the car unsettled. So it's going to be a real challenge to get through that for 29 laps in a race. It will be really surprising if it doesn't play many victims tonight. So let's see if these guys can get through there cleanly enough. As One Slip Mofo is definitely at a cool down lap, not really pushing the pace. So he'll probably come into the pits, put on a fresh set of boots, and get out there. Should probably get 3 runs in this quali session. So plenty of bites at the apple to get that perfect lap together. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Global Tier 1 should be a cracker of a tier. Ola to curving as well. Go on you mate. Great job on the comms in the other global tier as well. Make sure you check that out if you haven't already. That was a pretty decent race today actually, so I was tuning in for that one and definitely enjoyed watching that with curving at the wheel of the commentary, so that was a pretty poor reference actually. We'll let that one slip. Looks like KD is pretty much the only person on a lap. Everyone else is on out lap, so we'll stay on board. Quick lap in that Alpha Tauri, probably one of the best looking cars on the grid in my opinion. Probably also had the best livery reveal in my opinion. Gone through sector 1, probably the most technical section of the track. We want to keep that car nice, nicely between the lines, as outside of the track there's not much runoff, lots and lots of grass and a bit of sand, bit of gravel. So you have to show the track plenty of respect, stay within those limits. Looks like Katie's done that so far. Maybe a tad deep in today. He's got a bit of traffic, let's hope they get out of the way. We're right on board. They do get out of the way, so that's very good. 11 and 12 cuts it slightly, but that's okay. Looks like he's gotten away with that, which is good. DRS open, flooring it. Yeah, it's a shame curving, you're not racing. Of course, full time for McLaren. Hopefully we'll see you out on track next week, buddy. As KD comes through the final sector, bit of a tricky little sector actually. You want to keep as much mid-corner speed as you can, carry that momentum through the corners. Pretty much every corner KD runs wide. Oh, and he's lost the back end and he's put it in the wall. That's a real shame. That was looking like a pretty tidy lap until that point. It's just gone a bit wide into the final corner and that curve on the outside's bitting him in the bum. So that's a disappointment there, but he'll be coming in, getting a new wing and trying to make amends. Let's jump on board. Nope, looks like Portinator's invalidated. We'll jump on board with Banana in his trusty Renault. Very appropriate, he's in there. Comes through sector 1. Try and hit those apexes. He misses it slightly, but if he can carry the speed, then it shouldn't hurt him too much. Through turn 5, probably the other big place people are going to lose it. You want to try and take that as tight as you can, of course, but you don't want to run too much of that curve, otherwise that rear will get really unstable. And you also don't want to run, yeah, if I can speak English, don't want to run wide for the same reason. That rear is really easy to lose through there. So that'll be another place to watch drivers. As Banana's coming up for the second split, he's actually gone purple in the second sector. I'm not sure if the game's lying to us or if that's true. We know the game is very trigger happy on those purple sectors, but we'll see as he comes across the line. As we have missed the Ferrari of, I might call him Viper. I assume X might be a substitute for an E. We'll do that for now and I'll confirm that next week. Major apologies to you, my friends. I'm learning for the first time just as all of you guys are. But we've got Banana coming up to the line. 20.6, that's a solid lap P6 for now. Look nice and tidy, which is what we want to see. He's got probably a little bit more time to find if he can nail some of those apexes, Banana, but that's a good lap to start off with. Very, very, very good lap. We'll see what he can improve to as the session goes on. We'll jump on board with the Haas driver of One Slip Mofo. That's one slick name you've got there as he's run. Oh, okay, so we are lagging a fair bit there. Looks like he just about straight lined that corner, but he's actually got a tidy. Looks like he's invalidated somewhere as well. So that is very interesting. Hopefully that lag's not a problem in the race, because that could cause a bit of trouble for some drivers, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll jump on with the Mercedes. Silver Pillow is just starting his lap now. DRS nice and open. Yeah, of course, being the global series, we're going to have drivers from all over the world, so we might get a little bit of lag here and there. Of course, naturally, it's getting a bit from Silver Pillow as well. But let's hope that it doesn't play too much of a factor in the races. I think they have improved the lag this game compared to last game, so hopefully they continue to make improvements and we can, yeah, just have these guys all running smoothly. Jeez, it's pretty deceiving though. It looks like Silver Pillow's losing the rear a little bit, but he's really not. Yeah, that's just me being in Australia and a lot of these guys probably not being, so we'll just have to put up with that as he's coming down into the hard braking zone. Probably in one of the better overtaking points actually. Medium speed corner, so you can throw it down there. Of course, DRS down that straight there for introduced recently, so that will invite a few overtakes. Because Melbourne is a difficult track to overtake around. Turn 1 doesn't provide too many opportunities. The main spots are probably going to be into turn 3, and then if you get a really good run out of 11 and 12 down to 14 there. So drivers are going to want to be maximising their exits out of those sections beforehand, so they can make a run. Another thing to think about is dirty air, so that makes it even harder for drivers to overtake around this track, so that makes qualifying even more important than it might be at other places, as we've got the Ferrari Yaratel 84 starting his lap, low on fuel. Of course you'll want to run as little fuel as possible to make the car as light as possible. Try and keep it nice and tight, keeps it in 4th gear, that's good. Takes that apex pretty nicely, takes the curb but not too much of it, shows respect. He's down this time, so he might be on a cool down lap actually. 1.2 seconds down, so yeah, he might have just finished his lap actually and we've missed that. We'll have a look at the front though, because Viper is about to start his lap. We've got Kudo in P2 at the moment, so that's a good lap of 20.2, and Young Lights, I think his best lap is still in those mediums. Yeah, that's right, so he's got a lot of time to find still if he puts on those softs. Looks like he's done it now, but he's invalidated his lap. Prime Vilzu and Deputy Dildog, One Slip Mofo, Banana Cake Pie, Silver Pillow. Top 8 all in the pits, obviously just waiting for that perfect time to come out and start their final laps, as looks like Portnader's just jumped up into P3 with the McLaren, sole representative tonight, as his teammate unfortunately didn't make it curving. So he'll be waving the bright orange flag for tonight. Let's hope he can get a good result and get that McLaren season off to a good start. So 20.3, that's a pretty good lap there, so he'll be happy with that. He might just make it round to the pits and get one more run in, but it will be a close call. But yeah, only 4 cars on track for now. Looks like Viper he might have just finished the lap as well actually. He's actually dipped into the 19s. So first driver into the 19s, 19.9. Sorry I'm a little bit late with noticing some of these leaderboard things. I'm just trying to ride on the drivers as much as we can so we can experience their laps a bit. It looks like Viper has cut that corner, so that will be an invalid lap, but I think he's just chilling out anyway. Yeah, 16 seconds down, so on an in lap he'll be rushing back to the pits to get another fresh set of softs on. What's KD up to? He's started his lap, so he's decided to get out there early and get out of the way of all the kerfuffle that is the common occurrence for the end of qualifying sessions. It's a good move there. He shouldn't catch anyone towards the end of his lap either. Obviously not many people on track, so smart move by KD. His teammate BK having connection issues, so he couldn't make it into the lobby tonight, which is really disappointing. That would have been a team to watch, definitely. Obviously a great little joy there. But KD will fly the AlphaTauri flag for now. We'll stay on board for the lap as he's, I think, one of the only guys on a lap. Or he's run a bit deep into there and he's had to lift off to avoid the invalidation. We'll see if he sticks with his lap. It looks like he is. 33 tenths down, so that little mistake there's cost him, and he's missed turn 12 as well. Or he's grazed the wall too, so he's done well to slow that down enough. But that's, yeah, less than ideal. Looks like he's really struggling with that back end on that car. That's the second time we've seen him lose it, so I wonder if he'll dust those tyres off and go again. I don't think anyone else is on the lap at the moment. Plenty of guys in our laps. Who should we follow on board with? We might jump on board with Young Lights, because he looks like he's the first driver to start his lap. Actually, my bad, One Slick Mopo's ahead of him, so we'll jump on board with One Slick Mopo, and then we'll just jump down as the times come in. Yeah, we'll stay on board with the Haas driver through sector 1, see if he's improving. He is up on his time. It's not the purple sector. He's cut that, so that's his lap gone. He's not going to have time to come around again, I don't think. Maybe just, but I'm not sure. So MJ is coming in behind him. He'll be the next person to set a lap. He's also invalidated his, so this guy's struggling a little bit. What about Young Lights? Yeah, actually, I think Banana's on that lap. So let's jump on board with Young Lights. Probably favourite for pole after setting a really good time on those mediums. He should hopefully jump to the 19s. Oh, and he's invalidated as well. So none of these guys are really able to stay within the track limits and put in a solid lap, which is really interesting. Who's next? Looks like Deputy Dilldog will be next. He's still got his lap valid. I wonder if it's a bit of a commentator's curse, invalidating as soon as I jump on board. Let's hope not. Let's see if any of these guys can improve. His Deputy Dilldog is going to come through turns 11 and 12. We'll dab the brakes, keep it flat through 12. That's good, as Donolu has retired. Looking at the map, it looks like he straight lined it, so that's a bit naughty from him. But maybe I could be totally wrong there. But we'll stay on board with Deputy Dilldog as he's coming through the final sector now. Hard on the brakes, tight left-hander. Keeping it nice and tight for the final corner. That was a good run. Open DRS. This should be a good lap. As he set a 20.2. So up into P3. Prime Yuzu jumps him. Who else we got coming across the line? Looks like Viper, his teammate, my bad. Iratul. Yura. I like to figure out what to call you as well. Apologies to those drivers and viewers for my unfamiliarity with these drivers. First time coming across them, of course. We'll learn together. Who else is coming across the line? Looks like we've got Ramsey's invalidated. His teammate Kuda is coming across the line. He's going to set a lap, so let's see where he can jump himself. Can he beat pole position? He can, 19.6. So massive 6/10 improvement, and that's putting 3/10 clear of the rest of the field, so that's fantastic. Looks like Banana is also going to come across the line. He will jump to P3, so 20.1, that's a very good lap from Banana, and the Mercedes in front of MJ jumped up to P10 as well. So I think that is it for qualifying. No one else is on the lap, just Silver Pillow sitting in the pit, so the game will wait for him. So that was us for qualifying. Young Light's unable to get a clean lap in on the softs, so he'll be starting on the mediums, which could be a good thing for strategy, but yeah, that's unfortunate for the Renault driver anyway. He's probably favourite to get pole. But yeah, it's gone Kuda in that Williams. It's good to see Williams on pole again. Very good lap in 19.6, so that is some serious speed he's got there. So good to see. We've got Viper and Banana also setting good laps. Top 3, we've got Prime, Deputy Dilldog, Portinator, Young Lights of course in those mediums, and then One Slick Mofo, Silver Pillow, MJ. We'll make the top 10. All of those guys on the softs except for Young Lights. We've got KD, couldn't quite put a clean lap together. He'll be a bit disappointed. Ramsey, Iratul, Donolu has he retired. I've put him in 21.4, and it looks like BK's joined this session, so that's a good thing. Let's hope he gets himself into the race easily enough, as we've got 10 seconds to count down for the timer, so we shouldn't be waiting too much longer. There we go. Alright, so that's it for qualifying. Young Lights in chat, 18.7 is possible. Well, that would have put you on pole by an absolute country mile, so it's a shame he didn't get that together. But we'll see if he can climb himself through the field. Obviously got plenty of pace So yeah, we'll just run through that order again. You can have a quick look if you'd like. Looks like BK is in the session, so that's good news for the AlphaTauri team. Anyone who's watching the stream, welcome again, and yeah, give us some predictions. Who do you think is going to take our podium positions? If you can get it right, I'll buy you a Fredo. I'll get myself a prediction in as well, and maybe someone can buy me a Fredo if I get it right. But yeah, Kuda, Viper and Banana Cake Pie will round out the top 3. Let us know in the comments what you reckon. I reckon it's going to be a cracking race regardless of who comes out on top, so I am buckling myself in and very excited to get this one started. I also don't have any news on weather, as it looks quite dark actually for the race, so I wonder if we might get a little bit of weather. Will be interesting to see. I don't really have the information with me, and I'm not sure if any drivers have mentioned anything in the chat, but that's okay. We'll just take it as a surprise. We'll take it as it comes, and we will watch enthusiastically. Get some predictions in. DL F1, Donolu to win. I wonder if DL is short for Donolu. If so, then yes, I like that, backing yourself in. If not, then definitely a big fan. Let's see what he can do. I don't quite remember off the top of my head where we were starting from. We'll have to check that in a sec. Good to see a prediction. Don't be shy, guys. Get them in. Donolu from P14, so he's going to have to drive a mighty race to get up into that P1 spot. Anything is possible, so we'll have to wait and see, as we'll just get some data and stuff up again. See what tyres these guys have gone to. Okay, so most people sticking to the soft tyre obviously think it's the best tyre to be on at the start. The top 10 of course have to start on the tyres they qualified with, but KD is the only one outside the top 10 to choose the medium tyre, so Ramsey, Iratul, Donolu and BK have all chosen the soft tyre. So we'll have to see what they can do with those tyres, see if they can make up some ground. Obviously nice and fresh, just come out of their snuggly blankets, so they should have plenty of grip off the line. It'll be interesting to see what Young Lights and KD both do, whether they just send it on these tyres, do a medium to hard, or whether they just save a little bit and just try and extend the life of those mediums as long as possible and pop on some softs at the end. It is definitely a stretch to go mediums to softs, but we'll have to see what these guys can do as they're coming through the second sector split now on their formation lap. So he's warming up their tyres. Of course, on this game you actually take life out of your tyres now on the formation lap, so they'll have to be careful to not cook too much of those tyres, particularly if they do want to stretch the stint. But yeah, make sure you get your predictions in. You'll probably have about 30 seconds to do that before the race starts. Fredo on the line, so if you want that Fredo, get that prediction in, and if you don't like Fredos, which I think is absolutely appalling if you don't, suggest some kind of alternative and I'll buy that for you as well. I am going to predict the current top 3 to stay in the top 3. I reckon Viper, Kuda, Banana, maybe we'll give that as my suggestion, but I am not confident in that at all. I think there are plenty of guys in here who can win the race. I'd be watching out for Young Lights and KD to come through the field. Both have really good pace, so we'll have to wait and see as these guys are now lining up on the grid. Let's see if the game will give us a nice front-on shot. It looks not. Come on, game. There we go, perfect. Alright, colourful grid, getting ready for lights out for Race Spec Global Tier 1. They are out, away we go from the line. It looks like a good start from the Mercedes in the middle of the pack there. Our timing screens are going a bit whack, so we'll just worry about what's on track as Kuda gets away clean lead. Let's see if everyone does behind. We're looking okay for now. Lots of ghosting, so that is interesting. Obviously, a lot of connections not quite right. It doesn't look very good for the stream, which is a shame, but it's what it is. We'll do that as KD gets pinched on the inside and he's gone round, he's made contact. I'm not sure who that was with, but he's gone round on those medium tyres, so not the best start for the AlphaTauri driver, but meanwhile at the front looks like Kuda's managed to hold his lead from Viper, and Prime's managed to jump up into P3. Banana losing a couple of positions off the start down to P5. Portinator as well down a couple of positions. Young Lights maintains P7. It looks like we're okay as Ramsey and MJ gone side by side through here. Who's going to give first? Looks like the Williams is just ahead. Bit of a tap there as MJ sends it down the inside. That was a strong move there, and he's made it stick off in P9, as it looks like Donolu has made up a few positions and wants to make up even more up into the top 10 now. So Ramsey losing a couple of positions in succession there, so he'll be hoping to gain some of those back. But up the front it is Kuda who has managed to maintain his lead, and he's stretched it out to 7/10 as they all run a bit wide in turn 1 actually. Sets the fastest lap as you would expect, as it looks like our timing screens has finally sorted themselves out. So our medium runners, Young Lights, maintain position, and KD of course having that little incident off the start. I think looks like he had to take that turn 4 a bit tight and ran to the side pod of someone, so that's a real shame. But he's got plenty of time to make up, plenty of laps to do the job in. We might ride on board with Prime as he's close enough in the Ferrari in front of him. Kuda hasn't quite managed to bolt yet. Of course, the pace of the field looks pretty good in general from top to bottom. Qualifying was nice and close, so we don't expect anyone to run away too much. As we get our predicted pitch stop strategy, so that's handy. The game's suggesting a soft to hard or a soft medium. Because it's so difficult to overtake around here, I probably wouldn't suggest a 2-stop, but we might see a few drivers try that if we get some safety cars or some really bad tyre wear. They're probably the only 2 reasons. We jump aboard with Viper as he's clothing Kuda, but of course no DRS yet, so that move will be a bit harder to make. As we've got yellows behind as KD's retired. Where's he done that? He's done that at turn 11-12, so that's claimed the first victim. It is of course bad news for the Toro Rosso driver, not Toro Rosso, AlphaTauri, my bad. Not the start you would have wanted. So that's a real shame. Lap 2, turn 12 claims its first victim. If you want to predict in chat as well how many drivers are going to succumb to the mortal perils of turn 11 and 12, then you let me know as well, as we get our first penalty as well, with One Slick Mofo picking up his 3rd warning in 2 and a bit laps. So that's also something that drivers going to have to be aware of, trying to keep it clean, trying to keep it between the whites or yellow lines around here. Minimising those penalties, because you can really gain a lot of positions at the end of races if you keep it tidy. A few gaps start to form, looks like Portinator is dropping off the back a little bit of Banana Cake Pie, maybe saving a little bit of energy. Yeah, he's got plenty of energy left, so playing the long game, trying to just preserve some of those tyres, see if he can maybe extend distance a little bit. Young Lights in P7, he's sitting tight. If he can hang on to the soft train, then he'll be in a really good position later in the race where he can start to push. As we get a few more penalties rolling in, so 3 laps, drivers are already struggling with track limits a little bit, so they're going to have to get their heads down and focus and make sure to minimise those little errors running wide and cutting corners, as we got Donolu and Ramsey. Oh, a bit of wheel banging there. Pretty aggressive there, as Donolu's lost a couple of positions. Silver Pillar managed to get through as well. Looks like Silver Pillar's really lagging a lot, so that's not ideal as the Ferrari of Viertel runs wide. It looks like BK's car's running around, but I don't think he's controlling that, so let's see if he can get in. As we've got MJ and One Slick Mofo exchanging positions, it looks like MJ sent it down the inside into turn 1. Not the easiest place to make a move at all, so he's done well to do that there. It looks like up the front we've got to move P3 as well. As Prime always collected the Ferrari of Viper around the outside. That's really unfortunate. I don't think he really did anything wrong. It's just hard to get 2 cars through there. So that drops Viper down 3 positions and promotes Deputy Durog and Banana Cake Pie into positions 3 and 4 respectively. So a little bit of wheel banging to start off with. Fairly aggressive driving, wanting to make up a lot of positions at the start, really try to make a name for themselves in this first race of the season. So that Ramsey and One Slick Mofo are exchanging positions again. That looks like a fight worth watching as the race goes on. We'll have a look at the gap up front. Looks like Kuda's managed to break the 1 second. His Prime got DRS, no he doesn't. So that's really important for the Williams driver of Kuda to have already broken that DRS. Looks like Deputy Dilldog has got DRS behind Prime, so it looks like that battle for P2 could get really spicy soon. But Kuda's done well to break that 1 second already, as he got a bit more fighting down the back by the looks of things to jump on board with that. Donnelly losing another position in his left session, so I wonder if he's lagged out there. I think I mentioned before on qualifying, it is a global tier, so we've got drivers from all around the world racing in here, so we might get a few lag problems, a few connection issues depending on where the host and stuff is. The Cody's have improved in this aspect, but there'll always be issues with distance, so one other little thing to think about, so that Prime and Deputy Dilldog, Banana Cake Pyre all getting nice and close, nice and snugly down to turn 3 there, trying to outbrake each other. Last of the late breakers, another in that Renault, taking inspiration from Daniel Ricciardo perhaps. See if he can make up some positions, but all this fighting is just allowing Kuda in the Williams to break away even more. That gap's up to 1.5 now. And down the other end of that train, it's allowed Young Lights and Portinator to get back up to that train. Of course, there was a little bit of a gap there between Portinator and it was Banana Cake Pie at the time. Now it's Viper. He's managed to close that in, so it's a big train from P2 to P7. Important for Young Lights to maintain touch with the train so he can take advantage of his better tyres later. As looks like Silver Pillars, I'm not sure if that's his AI car, if he's taking control of that again. Has he got damage? I can't quite tell from there. We might just leave that for now. It looks like Prime's put in a really good third sector. He's managed to close Kuda a little bit, and has he broken DRS? Not quite, but he's got that gap down, gap back up to 9/10. So it looks like Deputy Dilldog might be the one vulnerable here. Right on board with Banana coming through turn 2, as Deputy Dilldog gets a little bit squirmy on the exit, but it's good enough. He's not going to have a problem defending now. So Viper might throw it down the inside. He will send it down the inside. More wheel contact. And even more, looks like Banana's saying no thank you to that one, defending nice and hard. I know they're both doing the same thing to each other, so we can't blame anyone for that contact. Send it down the inside, you've got every right to defend as hard, so looks like Banana Cake Pie has just held on to that for now, but he's lost touch to Deputy Dilldog because of that. Silver Pillow's come into the pits for hard, so it looks like he might have gotten damage there in his little incident. I think he's just lost it somewhere, which is a real shame for the Mercedes driver. Hello to Prezzo in the chat, thanks for joining us, appreciate it. I did say predictions for the top 3 would close when the race started, but I'll give you another lap if you'd like to get a prediction in, and I'll buy you a Freddo if you get it right. That's going to be the deal, so get in there if you like chocolates. Looks like MJ is right in the back of Ramsey. He's going to send it down the inside. And they've locked wheels a bit, and MJ's pushed Ramsey off the track. So MJ being really, really aggressive to start off with. In this race, really making his presence known. He's tried to run Ramsey out wide, and Ramsey was still in there, so probably maybe a tad aggressive from MJ, but that Ramsey's got low without damage. He'll be wanting to make that move back. He's got DRS. He won't send it here. He'll probably try and line it up for turn 3. Cuts that corner a bit, get a better run. He'll send it down. No, he covers. MJ covers the inside. Ramsey go around the outside. Will jump off board as MJ's going to squeeze him off the track again. So really, really aggressive driving from MJ, making his car as wide as possible, both in attack and defense. So that's again going to be a nice little fight to see. I wonder if BK's still lagged out, and I think so is Dono lose. So these two ghost cars will have a nice little race with each other. Silver Pillow should be able to catch him by the end of the race. He has plenty of pace, as proven in some of the pre-season events. Jump aboard at the front, gaps up to 2 seconds between Kuda and Prime. So Kuda's done well to stretch that again. Prime's really pushing, he's running out of ERS. Kuda's got plenty of ERS to play with, just check that. Looks like Prime actually is gaining a lot in that third sector, down that straight and into this last little complex here. And he does come into the pits, so he's the first one to blink. He'll be probably putting on the hards and see if he can get on an undercut. As it looks like Young Lights and Portinator's pit as well. Thought there was an overtake going on there, so first ones to blink are Prime, Coordinator and MJ, so it's definitely too early to consider mediums, so they'll be putting on hards and going to the end. Yeah, it looks like it. So it'll be interesting to see whether these top 4 guys on the softs will come in to respond to them, or if they will try and stick it out and just run their own race. The undercut is really handy around here if you can get it. Of course, it being so difficult to overtake around here, so it'll be really interesting to see. We'll jump on board with Banana as he's chasing down Deputy Dildog for P2, effectively P3. Once they'll all make their pit stops. Gets a little bit squirmy on the exit there actually. Loses the rear a tiny bit, and that's allowed Deputy Dildog to get a bit further away. It looks like Viper is closer to Banana than Banana is to Deputy Dildog, so always get a little bit loose on the exit there. He's done a lot of hold it. Yeah, Young Light's sticking to the back of that train, so he's not making massive progress to the field, but you wouldn't expect it on the harder tyres, although at this point the mediums probably are quicker than the softs. You see all 3 of those soft guys running wide through the final sector there, so those tyres looking like they're struggling, and all 3 of them will come into the pits, so they will put on the hards as Young Lights will inherit the lead. We'll jump on board with Prime to see where those guys come out. As Prime gets past, it goes to BK. We'll stay on board for this final sector into sector 1 to see if the undercut is powerful enough to catapult him ahead. It is, so Banana's coming out of the pits now, so this is going to be close between Donnaloo and some of these guys. Donnaloo is going to make it. Coordinator gets stuck behind Viper, so that's nice and close. Yes, of course, Donnaloo's left out, so he should be a driver to really worry about in this battle here. Yeah, let's move off that because that doesn't look very good. Cooter actually stayed out there, so it'll be interesting to see if he comes into the pits this lap, you'd imagine. So before those hard tyres get up to temperature, it may take a lap or 2 to get those up to the right temperature and get optimal grip. So once they do that, Cooter will be really starting to lose that time. He did have a 2-second gap for the pit stops, so we'll see what that becomes when the pit stops have all been completed. Yep, he's coming to the pits now, so I will stay on board with this little battle here as BK's Ghost is still in the middle of this little battle. Looks like he's given Banana DRS, so that's a plus. Young Lights will now inherit the lead. That was my mistake last lap. I thought Cooter came in as well, so that's my bad. We'll ride on board with Prime again, like we did last lap, and see where Cooter comes out relative. We expect him, as looks like, yeah, these Ghost cars are being quite annoying. Looking like there are overtakes when there really aren't. What's the gap? So Cooter's maintained his gap, as Prime has done the fastest lap of the race, so he's done the job on his end. It looks like he's closed that gap majorly. Wow, so Cooter has lost that 2-second lead, and it's now down to less than half a second. It's 2/10, 1/10. He didn't get the DRS, of course, but Prime will be hunting him down. But Cooter will have the 2-lap pressure tyres and will be wanting to break away. But yeah, that proves the undercut is quite valuable, obviously raising that 2 seconds gap, getting 2 laps earlier, so that's a good strategy call to get Prime back into the fight. Looks like Banana's actually lost touch. I might have missed a little scuffle here actually, because those 2 were really close together before. So Viper's still right behind Banana, so Prime's putting a really good lap to break that backfield, that back group there, and hang on to the back of Cooter again. So credit to the Alpha Romeo driver for putting in the laps when it counts. He's going to get the DRS in Cooter now. Let's see if he makes a move into overtake. Cooter will stay outside, and he's not going to go for it yet, so we'll line him up again as we've got Ranchy getting past the lagged out car again. So after the pit stops, we shouldn't really have too much worry with those, as Yotel will be the last soft run into pit, other than those other cars. See what the Ferrari mechanics can do with their pit stop. Nice and tidy. Okay, so now the entire field is on the hard tyre, with the exception of Young Lights, of course, starting on that medium. So I wonder, it looks like, I think I just caught there, that first sector time was only 300ths off his best, so it looks like he's still pushing unless those tyres just really start to phase in. Now, of course, the mediums tend to have some really good ultimate grip and then drop off and then kind of plateau out again. So it looks like Young Lights is in that phase where those mediums are kind of in their second lifespan, you could almost call it. Will be interesting to see what lap he pits, because if he could pit in the next 2 or 3 laps, put the hards on and push those to the end, or he could be conservative and try and save them and see if he can stretch softs for a few laps at the back end. He's going to have to stay out for another probably 7 or 8, 9 laps to make that happen. It'd probably be 6 or 7 laps if he did want to go soft. So he runs into the grass there, probably still laps of concentration. But that would be an interesting little battle. Of course, Young Lights putting in a banger quality time on mediums, so he's obviously got lots and lots and lots of pace. And now he's in clear air. We'll see what that gap is. We'll watch that gap between Young Lights and Kudar, as looks like Ramsey and MJ. MJ's gone off the track, so that was like a little spicy rivalry happening there. Of course, MJ making a really bold dive on Ramsey earlier, and Ramsey's obviously made a move back. I'm not sure if that was an on-track move or whether MJ just made a little mistake there. We'll have to watch that. It's like Deputy Doodog and Viper are also having a bit of a scuffle. And up top, Prime is making a move on Kudar for the effective race lead. Kudar's going to hold it around the outside. Yep, and he's got it stuck. So good defending there. We'll have to watch out for that battle, because that looks really, really spicy. Once Kudar has lost his lead there, looks like Prime has really started to come into real contention. Both in the same tyres now, so maybe Kudar's just struggling slightly on that hard tyre. Of course, had the pace in the soft, so that is one spicy fight we'll have to be watching. We're right on board with Prime, as it looks like this is the best battle on track for now. See if he can hold it tight and get the run out of 11 to 12. He does that really well, so does Kudar. He's going to have to DRS up into overtake, using all of the energy that he possibly can. Down the inside, no, he's going to back out. So once again, Kudar has got so much more ERS. Wow, he's up into the 70%, whereas Prime is down into almost single digits. So Kudar's got plenty to play with. Looks like he's just saving a little bit. Doesn't want to bet at all right now. Try and conserve those tyres. He runs a bit wide into the final corner. Excuse me, as Prime is going to make a look. I wonder if he'll send it down here. He goes defensive into turn 1. This is not a usual overtaking place. My bad. Trying to switch the cameras. That's a terrible camera, so it'll stay on the onboard. As Prime has got, yeah, it's very, very, very difficult, if not impossible, to go around the outside of turn 1 at Albert Park. So his best shout is probably to line him up in turn 3 and make a big dive into the hairpin. Of course, the heavier braking zone is probably a better overtaking option. But yeah, this is like a really spicy fight. We're a bit worried that Kudar might run away with it. But the pit stops have really brought Prime back into contention, as the gap, I have been watching that gap to Young Lights at the front, it's at 20.7, so Young Lights still has plenty of pace on those hard tyres. I think the pit stop delta, the pit stop time lost is in the low 20s, below 20-second mark, so Young Lights could come right into the middle of this battle and be on a lot fresher tyres. So the Renault driver could be on for an absolute masterstroke strategy after somewhat accidentally qualifying on the mediums, after not being able to put together a soft run. So that's, yeah, it's up to 21 seconds just about now, so Young Light showing plenty of pace. He's not pitting yet. You'd expect if he was to go on the hard tyres he would have already pitted, so it looks like he is going to try and stretch it out to softs. He's going to need probably 4 more laps, maybe 3 if he's kind on those soft tyres to get it done, as Prime is once again right at the tail of Kudar, right on board again. He opens DRS to overtake. He's got pretty much no energy to play with, so he's going to really struggle to make a move. So Kudar's actually playing this quite well. He's putting his car in the right spot, and obviously Prime is really struggling with ERS at the moment, trying to make that move now. So what Kudar can do is he can start to edge away, start to use a little bit of that battery he's got stored up, and he can just try and start to edge away while Prime has to save a bit. We'll jump on board here for the battle for P5. Looks like Viper is starting to close on Deputy Doodog, who is losing touch with Banana Cape High. The Renault driver doing a good job consistently. Looks like both the Renaults are in a pretty comfortable position. We'll ride on board here as well. Takes the apex a lot earlier than Deputy Doodog does. Gets a little bit loose in the exit, but that's okay. Using that overtake already, so trying to get a really good exit out of the corner and line him up in DRS. He might be a tad too far back here, as Deputy Doodog cuts that. Oh, a little bit loose again. Just hold on to that, which is good. Open DRS, overtake on, overtake off. He's going to be a bit too far back, yeah. You're really going to have to get a great run out of turn 12 to make a run there, because the straight isn't that long, and of course it's not that heavy of a braking zone. You're only shifting down to 5th, 4th gear there, so it would be difficult to make a move there, but not impossible. We've already seen a few drivers do that. As looks like Deputy Dudok, he's getting the exits and the run out speed where he needs to, so he's doing all he needs to do to keep in front of Viper for P5. Viper's really hitting those apexes really nicely. And he's got a fantastic run out of turn 1. He's going to go to the inside, 2 wheels on the grass. Can he get it stuck, go off board? Dive down the inside. What's Deputy Dudok got to fight with? Not too much, so that's a great move there. Gets a little bit squirmy there, but that's all good. These guys look really close in pace, so I'm sure Deputy Dudok will be wanting to make that position back. As Viper gets a 3-second time penalty, so that's something we will check with probably 4 or 5 laps to go to see what the penalty situation is like. I haven't seen too many pop up actually, with the exception of those first 5 laps where we saw a lot. So these drivers doing quite well to keep up between the lines, which is what we want to see. We want to see a straight fight. Looks like Deputy Dudok is right on the tail of Viper again. I think he's going to be too far back to make a move. We'll move back up to Prime in P3 as he's still right in back of Kuda. Who in turn is losing out to Young Lights still, so that gap's up to 21.5 seconds. So if Young Lights can, stay out in those mediums for another probably 1 or 2 laps, he can put on fresh softs and absolutely bolt. So I actually reckon Young Lights is in prime position to win this race at the moment, but we're going to have to wait and see. I don't remember what the pit stop delta is, so he could come out behind these guys and struggle to make a move. As looks like Prime is going to make a move. Kuda tries to squeeze him on the brakes, and he's put that car in a really good position, not allowing Prime to run around the outside. So really good defending there. Doing quite well to hang on to that P2 spot. He's doing everything he needs to do. So good to see from the Williams. We'll give these guys a bit of screen time, so that Coordinator is trying to get onto the back of that Viper and Deputy Dudok battle. He's just outside the 1 second mark, so if he can get to that 1 second, he can start to reel them in and possibly make a charge. And we've got Ramsey a little bit in the middle of nowheres, 8 seconds behind Coordinator and 3 seconds ahead of MJ, who, of course, they had that little bit of a scuffle earlier in the race. Something important worth noting, I think, is Young Lights. We'll jump on board with this first. Side by side into the braking zone. Kuda once again holds on, so Kuda is putting on defensive masterclass as Young Lights has put on softs, and if you missed that, he's got a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. So that could be really, really, really costly for his chances of winning the race. Where's he come out? It's going to be so close. He's going to come out ahead, but Kuda's going to get the run out of the corner, and he's probably going to make a move as Prime is right behind him as well. We'll jump aboard with Kuda. Is he going to dive down the inside? He will. That's a lot of contact there. And Young Lights has gone around. No, okay, so that's really hurting Young Lights. Is he got damage? Doesn't look like he's got damage actually. You'd expect him to with a bit of a hit. But yeah, Kuda's just tried to send that and he's run to the side pod. So Young Lights gave him plenty of room. So Kuda might be in a little bit of strife with that one. Looks like he's actually escaped damage as well, which is quite lucky because that was a fairly sizable hit on our end. So, that's a real shame for Young Lights. Oh my goodness, what has happened here? I think he's tried to make a bit of an angry move on Nader and has lost it. We just saw him sliding across the track there, so he's left the session, he's left on track, so that is a no-no, but we can deal with that later. Obviously that's incredibly frustrating. He was probably in prime position to win this race. As we have a safety car, I've just noticed, wow, so that has brought out the safety car, so Young Lights could be in a little bit of trouble there for retiring on track and bringing out a safety car, but that's not for me to worry about. We'll see who pits. Is everyone going to pit? Looks like lots of people are pitting. We'll jump on board with Coordinator. Yep, so the top 6 are all pitting. Is Ramsey going to pit? That's a late move into the pits. Is MJ going to pit? MJ does not pit. And then Young Lights, of course, his goes to cardboard pit, as Coordinator has got front wing. So maybe these two, maybe I've gotten that wrong and these two have come together before the corner. So Coordinator's lost out a bit of time. He's going to put on mediums. We've got a variety of tyre choices actually. We've got Kuda on the softs, Prime on the mediums, Banana and Viper both on softs. We've got Deputy Dilldog on mediums, Coordinator on mediums, Rancy on softs. So Yotel's put on the mediums, and then the 3 softs behind. So that safety car has really thrown a bit of a spanner into the works in terms of the strategy. These guys are all pretty in a pretty even race. Of course, all being on the hard tyres pretty much. But yeah, now with the safety car we see a lot of variety, as MJ is the only one to stay out on the track actually. Donos goes to the car, also stayed out. So what have we got? We've got 11 laps to go, so MJ is going to fall back through the field, of course, being on old hards compared to everyone else's fresh softs or mediums. Most of them should be fresh tyres. You might have a few old tyres for qualifying, only done a lap or two. But yeah, the strategy game has kind of gone out the window, and now it's just going to be a sprint to the finish, and I feel like MJ is going to lose that a little bit, being on his old tyres. But what he has done is he's vaulted himself into a really good position on track, so he was right on that kind of top 10 bubble there, right at the back of the top 10. So if he can hang on to a few positions here, then it could actually be a really good strategy, but with 10 laps to go, you'd think the guys around him just being so much faster that he might struggle to maintain that P1. But we'll have to wait and see. I wonder, yeah, with the mix of tyre choices between softs and mediums, I wonder if people are thinking the softs aren't quite going to have the grip to make it to the end. Of course, with a lighter car, less fuel, you'll be able to push them a little bit more and probably get an extra lap of life out of them. But we could see those medium runners really come into their own at the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see on that one, because the soft runners are really going to be able to launch well. So that will be quite fascinating. Yeah, this will be a very interesting last few laps, because people are going to struggle to get past MJ, perhaps because it's difficult to get past this track, and if MJ put his car in the right places, then he could make life really hard for the guys behind him. And we've of course seen today that MJ is not afraid to throw the car in there. He's quite an aggressive driver, so it actually could be a fairly reasonable strategy for MJ if he can hold off a few drivers. But yeah, you get the feeling he's going to get swamped, particularly by these soft runners initially off the line. If anyone's still in the chat and wants to put a prediction in for the top 3 now, then absolutely fire away. It'll be interesting to see who can get the call right, because I really don't have much idea. But you're seeing the likes of Banana Cake Pie in P4 and Viper in P5, both in soft tyres, whether they'll be able to jump Prime on those medium tyres. So even though they're in P4-5 now, they could be in a prime position to get that podium spot, as the safety car is going to come in this lap. So we'll jump on board with MJ as he's going to slow up the field. Hopefully these guys keep themselves fairly well behaved. Still 10 laps left. It's not like a 3-lap shootout or anything like that. So MJ is really chasing that safety car down. So very, very, very interesting. Hopefully they don't all get caught up behind it, because that can create some real issues. Yeah, he's not letting the safety car get away, is he? So let's hope these guys can get away cleanly, because we know when the safety car comes into the pits, we can get a few problems with the game kind of slowing you down on the straight and stuff. So safety car's in the pit lane and they've gone. Looks like Viper has actually made a really good start. Hopefully don't get 3 wide, because that's disaster. Niners hold on there, so he cuts the corner there. Probably a bit smart to do that, to not run into anyone. But looks like the field has gotten off pretty cleanly. We'll just check down the field here, as we've got all the large cars at the back, and then Yotel has, I think he's made another stop there and put on fresh softs, and Silpillar looks like he's back in the session as well. 2 AIs are driving inside each other. That's disgusting. We jump back up the front, because this is where the action will be. MJ's actually managed to hold on to P1 for now, which is quite a good effort actually, considering that tyre disadvantage he's got. We're right on board with Kuda here, as he's going to try and be hunting down. As Prime actually looks like he's closer to Kuda than Banana is, so doing well in that harder tyres. Rance has made a move in Coordinator, so making most of those soft tyres while they do have the grip advantage. Thanks Peugeot for the prediction in track. Kuda Banana Deputy, that is a viable podium suggestion, and I would not be surprised. You are correct on that one. Although there are plenty of contenders for that podium, as Rance is making up another position on Deputy Dildog, and Kuda has also made a position. Oh, this is absolute chaos. Hold it together, guys. Looks like someone went around. I think that was Viper. Yeah, it was. Sorry about the poor cameras. Just getting a lot of funny little things, and he's lost his front wing totally. So, oh, we've got another safety car. Wow. So MJ is going to pit, and so is Portinator, and so is Viper. So I wonder if Portinator got some damage somewhere in there as well. So we've got a second safety car on the lap that the safety car came in. So that's really, really interesting. It looked like, I didn't quite get the best view of that, I apologise, but we were almost going too wide for 3 rows there, and everyone just ran out of room, and Viper looks like got squeezed off onto the grass and has just lost control of that car and put it in the wall. Obviously not having much space in the cars around it to get back on the track. So I think that was just a case of too many cars trying to take the same bit of road. But that's really, really unfortunate for the Ferrari driver, obviously in contention for that podium. And now that Ferrari team is both at the back, so that's a real shame. That was quite chaotic there. But yeah, that's really unfortunate to see for Viper. So Kuda will be in the lead now, as MJ, of course, put on some fresh mediums after being on those hards earlier for the first safety car restart. Yeah, that was very, very, very messy. Yeah, I can't really make too many statements on that because I didn't get the best view of it, but yeah, that's not really what we want to see. Too many cars kind of running into each other. But I was commenting in chat, mate, you're telling me to not drive while texting. I think you better take a leaf out of your own book, mate, and focus on the race. Apparently Ferrari's made an interesting move according to the Renault Banana, but that looked like a total mess. I wouldn't be surprised if other people were involved in that little kerfuffle there. So it's hard racing, but it's not what we want to see, drivers come together. So these guys will reset again, and we'll have another safety car restart. Probably will stay out for one more lap. This is really going to advantage those soft runners because they're not going to fall off the cliff. They're going to essentially get 2 extra laps of life into those tyres. So it looks like the softs are the right call. And yeah, they've just been helped out a whole lot more by the safety car. We saw a few people jump through the field. Initially after that restart, we saw Rancy get a few positions as well. He's now up to the P4, so that's a really good position for the other Williams driver. So Williams in P1 and P4 at the moment, so that's a fantastic showing for him so far. And we've also got the Haas of Onset Mofo, and of course the ghosted car of Young Lights who retired, who didn't retire, who left the session. So Onset Mofo's put together a good race as well. We haven't talked about a lot of these guys too much yet. They were fairly spaced out before the safety cars happened, but we'll see if they can make up a few positions as well. We've got Deputy Dildog just in front of him in the Red Bull on those medium tyres, so once again those mediums will be not as good off the line, but they may start to phase in the last 1 or 2 laps if those softs start to wear a bit. So both Deputy Dildog and Prime will both be hoping for yeah, that grip to really start to advantage them. They'll be hoping for those softs to fall off the cliff a little bit. We'll have a look down the field. We've got, obviously, these loaded out cars. We've got Silver Pillow. He's had a difficult race, not a fantastic qualifying, and a couple of little scuffles in the race, so he'll be disappointed with this round 1. His teammate MJ getting involved in a few little battles there. Obviously that second safety car hasn't quite helped him. He's back down 11th, but he is on better tyres than he was at the last safety car, so it'll be interesting to see if he can make up some points. Obviously in P11 right now, so he won't be getting past a few people. Another big L from all of that scuffling is Portinator. I think he was in that massive pack where that second incident happened, so he had to pit and he's put on some fresh stops, so he was running in the top 6 in that train, that little train up there. So that's really unfortunate for the McLaren driver, and then of course the two Ferraris, Viper going into the wall, and Yeratel not quite putting together the clean performance that he would have wanted. But we'll jump up front to Kuda, who's going to get the safety car restart happening, as once again they're very, very close to the safety car. They're all really starting to bunch up. Looks like some of them are about to go. As Kuda now puts the foot down, and he's going to floor it out of the final corner, overtake Modon, and he's got the jump by 6/10 over Prime. We'll see if these guys keep it nice and tight in turn one. Looks like Ramsey might be making a move from Banana. No, he tucks back in, probably smart there. Silverpillar gets a time penalty there for exceeding track, probably cut in the corner there. As we jump back here, Ramsey and Banana. Banana takes that inside line and defends well. Ramsey's going to look for the switchback, will jump on board. No, he's not going to quite get it stuck, so Banana defending quite well there. It's like once at Murphy is looking at Deputy Dudog. Got two ghosted cars, three ghosted cars in a row all there, so let's hope they get out of the way of this back group, as it looks like the Mercedes drivers are getting a little bit scuffly. MJ's come off a little bit worse from that fight, and he's squeezed Coordinator, who in turn has lost out to Viper, so again quite messy down there, as the Coordinator's is he going to lose out to the other Ferrari? No, Urado gets onto the grass, so he's going to lose that grip there. So Coordinator again has had a race to forget, as it looks like Silverpillar is getting past the lapped car. They're all kind of driving through each other. That's not pretty to watch. We'll jump back up the front. It looks like Deputy Dildog is on, he's probably the closest to making a move, but he can't get it stuck there on those medium tyres. So it looks like he's doing quite well to keep up with his soft runners for now. Although when I say that, he's lost a bit of time in that last sector, of course, with the tyre grip is probably the most important, or not most important, but probably the most utilised. He's lost out there in the final corner, so that might allow One Slip Mofo to get onto the back of him. Banana's shot off the back of Prime again, so it looks like those top two are in a league of their own at the moment. Well, hopefully Banana can stay within that 1 second. He's right in the bubble now, so he'll be wanting to keep in touch, see if he can jump at those two. If he can save a little bit of pace, a little bit of tyres, a little bit of ERS now, and hopefully make a push towards the end. Looks like the back Coordinator and MJ are having a bit of a scuffle again. It's in front of them, Viper and Silverpillar going side by side. Oh, that's not a place to go side by side. And Viper's, he's done well to save that. He's done very, very, very well to save that. Unfortunately, that he just lost out to Coordinator again, so Coordinator getting that place back. So it's Silverpillar and Viper are going side by side in a place you don't really want to go side by side through. As Coordinator's gone off and he's spinning out onto the track. Oh, and he's smashed into, who was that? Was that MJ? I think it was. So he's lost it, and he's lost the rear and comes straight back onto the track. Not really anything he could do, but that's a major hit. In real life that should be a safety car, but it looks like we're not going to get one. So this race has gone from bad to worse to absolutely horrible for Coordinator. He'll be really disappointed after he showed some really good pace, some top 5 quality pace. So yeah, it'll be onwards and upwards from now from the McLaren driver, of course without his teammate here, so it'll be 0 points to McLaren this round, as Kuda sets the quickest lap. So he's really showing some prowess out the front here. 1.2 seconds to Prime, who is 1 second ahead Banana. Looks like Ramsey is still within DRS there, so he might be a shout to gain a position. We'll jump down here. Looks like Silverpillar and Viper are nice and close together again. That's the lap car of BK. As MJ's made another pit stop for soft tyres, so he'll be possibly going for the fastest lap and seeing if he can just gain something out of this race, because he's not had the cleanest race. So Silverpillar has, what's happened there? I think he's just getting the BK Ghost car is getting in the way. We'll jump back on board with Banana Pie, who's closing to Prime actually. He's only 8 tenths behind, 7 tenths. He's putting him in purple middle sector. So also Banana's starting to find some real pace. I wonder if he can challenge for P2. I think if he can get Prime, he might just be a little bit too far away from Kuda to challenge for P1, but if Banana could get P2, he'll be really happy with that performance. Ramsey's dropped it off the back a little bit. Looks like Deputy on those medium tyres is going really good. It'd be really interesting to see actually if Deputy had put on the soft tyres, what his pace would be like, because he's definitely hanging on with that harder tyre. As once again he doesn't quite get the run out as Viper gets past the Ghost car. I'm sorry for flicking the roads so often. I just see the movement on the side map and it looks like there is an overtake happening when in fact they're just the cars are not being driven by people at the moment. So apologies for that, but that's, yeah, what can we do about that, eh? as Banana is getting nice and close to Prime, who's actually closed the gap to Kuda, so Kuda's made a little bit of a mistake there. Yeah, gap's back down to 7/10, it was up to nearly 1.5 before, as Prime's put in a personal best first sector. So this race isn't over. I was just saying on the last lap, if Banana can get Prime, he'd be too far away from Kuda, but Prime's starting to catch back up to Kuda, so this race definitely isn't over. I called that one way too early. Looks like Kuda's got the traction out of that corner though. He's going to coast away a little bit down the back straight, the bendy straight. Always going to cut that corner majorly, and so does Prime. Prime pays the price for it, so we'll have to check those penalties. I might actually do that now while the field is fairly spread out. So Kuda's got just the 1 penalty. Prime's got 2 penalties. That was the second one just there. Banana's got 2 penalties. Ramsey's got 2 penalties, but 1 warning away from it. Deputy's got 1. One Sleep Mofo has plenty. Viper has plenty. Young Lights is out. Civil Pillow only got 1, so where's Civil Pillow relative to the others on the track? I always got a bit of a gap, so Civil Pillow might jump a couple of positions at the end. But we've got 2 penalties for most of these front guys. Was it Ramsey or Deputy Dog? I have a short memory, who only had 1. We'll check that again, my apologies. Ramsey's got 2. Deputy Dildog's only got 1, so Deputy Dildog is in a good position actually to jump both Banana and Ramsey, so we could see Deputy Dildog on the podium actually. So that'll be interesting to see what that gap sits at towards the end of the race. Those medium tyres will only be getting quicker from now as the softs start to fade, as he's up on his best time, so he's really starting to push now. As you can overtake DRS, we'll jump on board. Is he close enough to Ramsey? Probably not quite. Oh, we'll jump on board up top here. As Kuda and Prime are going side by side, and Banana's right in the mix as well. Wow, this is a cracking battle. Let's stay on board for this. This is what we want to see. We want to see a good fight for the lead. It's like Kuda is starting to struggle on those soft tyres, and Prime's really starting to come into the picture again. We'll jump on board as he opens DRS. He's going to throw it down the inside here. Banana's too far back. He's not quite. No, Prime's going to settle down, and he's going to line him up for turn 3. He's got a fantastic run out of there. So Kuda's really struggling in those softs. He's going to open DRS. He's going to use his ERS. He doesn't have much of it. He's going to go around the outside. Can he hold it? He can. Kuda can't quite squeeze him off there. And he's going to run down the inside, and he's going to push Kuda off. So Prime has taken the lead with only 2 laps to go. So this is a cracking battle that's starting to emerge here. What has Kuda got to offer in return? As Banana Cake Pie is also right on the tail of these guys too. So any slip up from Banana can just gobble up the pieces. But yes, I think this is the first time this race that Kuda's really lost this lead, other than when Young Lights was on the mediums during the pit stops. But Prime is really starting to come into this race at the end. As they're coming through turn 11, turn 12, can they all keep it clean? They do all keep it clean. We'll jump on board with Kuda, who's also used a lot of his ERS. He's not into overtake now, so he's going to save it up for the main straight and probably the second straight after that, between turn 2 and turn 3, and maybe have another look. But it looks like Prime is starting to stretch those legs a little bit. He's looking really, really good up front. As we're coming around the final corner for the second last time, we're on to the straight for the final lap. What can Kuda do in response to Prime? Prime has timed his move perfectly and has made a fantastic run for the lead. And also, what can Banana Cake Pie do? He's been sitting in P3 watching this battle. Can he close up? And can he make a move? We'll jump on board with Kuda. He's got the DRS open. He's not using overtake either, so he must be saving it right for the very last moment for that back straight. It'll be interesting to see if he can hang on here though, because it looks like those mediums are a lot better than those softs at the moment. Of course, 11 laps old. Although we do have 2 safety cars, 11 laps is a lot past the prime of the soft tyres. As that gap's up to a second, so it looks like Prime's actually going to hang on bar any major issues from now. This is really massive. Kuda, of course, being in control for most of this race, but Prime's just timed his run very, very well, and he's chosen those medium tyres, and it's come really handy for him, and he's really starting to reap the rewards now as he's pulled out 1.2 seconds on the lead. So Prime looks like he's got this in the bag. What can a Banana Cake Pie do? Is he close enough? He's not close enough, so I wonder if we'll see any of these guys make a move. We'll have a look back. Deputy Dudog is not quite close enough to Ramsey to make a move, but we'll jump on board with Prime as he comes around the final 2 corners. He's going to come across the line. I can't quite remember what the penalties are, but we'll have to wait and see what the game throws us. Prime's going to win the race on track. Can he hang on to it? Kuda's going to get him on penalties. So Prime must have had one more penalty than Kuda, because Kuda has taken the win of the first race. So Prime has won it on track with a fantastic strategy choice put on those mediums when those softs are dying, but he's lost out on penalties, so that's a shame for the Alfa Romeo driver, but a fantastic showing nonetheless. Banana Cake Pie will take P3, those 3 being our 3 podium getters and the clear top 3 drivers for that last stint when it mattered. Deputy Dudog will jump Ramsey as well, courtesy of penalties. Silver Pillow will jump up to P6. That's actually fantastic. Silver Pillow being really, really clean. He's jumped a lot of positions. We've got One Slick Mofo's lost a position. Young Lights, of course, left the session, so his result won't count. BK was never participating in the session, and we had, I think it was Yeratel in the Ferrari closing out the points positions, picking up that final point. Driver of the day goes to Ramsey. The game has given him that because he would have made the most positions during the race, but that ended up being a cracking last little section there with the 2 safety cars bunching the field right up and really giving these guys something to work for. But it is the Williams driver of Kuda who led most of the race, only lost the lead for the last 2 laps, but managed to keep it clean enough to get the win back on penalties. So well done there from the Williams driver. And then Prime in P2, fantastic drive, and then Banana Cake Pie just being very consistent there and securing that P3 spot. So a fantastic drive from 3 of them. Yeah, so you can see there Kuda only picking up the 1 penalty as opposed to Prime and Banana's 2 penalties, so that's what's ultimately given him the win. So well deserved winning that race, leading for pretty much the whole thing and coming out on top from pole to the win. So fantastic result there from the Williams driver, and of course his teammate finishing P5, so those guys will be top of the constructors as well. From P12 I might say for Ramsey as well, which is a great race. So I'll just get this whole list here. We only had 2 DNFs, of course KD crashing out on lap 2, and Portinator after some really bad luck there in that little scuffle, also crashing out after losing it and coming back on track and collecting the Mercedes driver. So it'll be interesting to see how the points end up playing out with a couple of ghost cars staying in the points there. I'm sure the league will fix that up, but that will do us there. We might call that a race and leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in to the first round of the PS4 Global Series, of course the top tier. We had a really good race there right to the end. Plenty of movement throughout the field. I really enjoyed watching that. Once again, I apologise for getting some of those pronunciations wrong occasionally, but I will work on that. I'll have to practice in front of a mirror or something maybe for next week. But yeah, other than that, fantastic showing from our drivers. Thanks to those that were tuning in. And yeah, we'll leave it there. I am Bod Hod, and this has been another show from Race Spec, and we will catch you same time, same place next week for round 2 at Bahrain. Cheers guys.